Hi guys, let's first talk about the fear and greed index. So starting off, we can see that right now we are at 28, and yesterday we were at like day before yesterday we were at around 16, right? So the bottom we have seen is around 10. So there's definitely room for more downside. So that's something to keep in mind. However, we can't really only gauge where the market is going based on this. So we'll continue to look at the other aspects of the update. So moving forward, we'll look at the total MCAP. So right now, the weekly close that we had was at 2.279 trillion, and the bull market support band right now is between 2.25 trillion to 2.312 trillion. So we close in the middle of it, right? So what we want to be looking at, either we close in the middle of it or keep going higher. Right now we want to also see a bullish market structure forming, so that is lower lows and higher highs. So we did see a low, yes, this previous week's low was 2.116 trillion. So what we want to be seeing is nothing go below that for this week, and we want to hopefully see something higher than 2.417 trillion, right? That would be the perfect bullish market structure forming. So if we do fail to not close the coming weeks on inside or above the bull market support band, we can most definitely see a retest of 2 trillion for the market cap. Considering the RSI as well, that would be an estimation of a bounce of the support level at 44 points, so 45. So also note that the last time we did have the mini bear market, it lasted around 63 days before a turnaround, right? So if we do have the same roughly 63 days this time, that would make us go into like end of January. Doesn't mean it has to, it's just a possibility, right? So long as we are closing in or above the bull market support band, we don't really have to worry about going to the extreme of 1.847 trillion, but it still will be inside. So that would take not just Bitcoin down, the whole asset class, that's Bitcoin, Ethereum, all our investments, right? So that's the summary on the bull market support band. And what this week's closure means is that we are still in limbo, right? We cannot say, okay, we are for sure going down or we are for sure going up, because we still closed in the middle of the bull market support band, right? So we can still see a positive outlook, but we can also most definitely prepare for the tests of 2 trillion and 1.847 trillion. So considering our altcoin market cap, we have successfully closed above the bull market support band, and right now we are testing the lower end for this week, which is at 1.274 trillion. Okay, so long as we can hold this level, we are fine. If we do break below the bull market support band, then there's most definitely a possibility of testing 1 trillion market cap, right? That's definitely possible. So what we are looking for right now, so from 2 weeks back, so that's this one, we are having lower lows. Okay, maybe not higher highs as of yet, but the good part is that we're seeing lower lows. So that's something positive to be, right? And RSI wise, we want to be finding support between 48 and 50. So definitely there is more room for downside, as we saw from the fear and greed index as well, and from the total MCAP as well, right? So long as the total MCAP does not fall below the previous mentioned support bull market support band, long as we're closing in it, then the altcoin market cap should hold here. And mainly I would go with Ethereum, saying Ethereum would be more stably priced rather than all the other altcoins, right? I'll show you in the next video what I mean by that. So to sum it up, we want to be closing again above 1.274 trillion. Also note that the bull market support band does increase over time, right? So we don't, over time it will go higher, and we still want to be closing either above it or in it. And if we do fail to close below this, or if we see anything lower than 1.232 trillion, which is the low for last week, then we will most definitely have a complete bearish market structure heading towards 1.1 trillion for support. That's the summary for the altcoin market cap. Taking a look at Bitcoin, we can see that the weekly closure yesterday was just above 50,000. So what that indicates is that we can most definitely look for support between our 50-week moving average and our 200-day moving average. So right now the price difference is like is quite close, right? Between 46,700 so 46,800 to 47,750. So what we are looking for right now is to be able to hold that line. If we do not, however, hold this line, our next target is 45,000, and anything lower, the lowest we would expect to go if we do have a mini bear market would be 39,500 to 40,500. Now the chances of that happening, considering yesterday's weekly close, are very, very slim. I'm not talking about the 45, I'm talking about 39.5 to 40.5. However, when we're looking at market structure, we can see that we did hold the 200-day moving average, right? So we don't want to see anything under 46,800. If we do, that would just create an immediate bearish market structure. Right now we have a lower low here and a lower low here. I mean, it's the start of the week, but still. So what we generally would love to see is a higher high and keep this lower low. If we do have a lower low, it would be in a bearish market structure, and next stop would be 45,000. So another thing we want to understand is that over time all these indicators, they move upwards, right? So the 200-day and the 50-week moving average, they do go higher. So if we can hold the line at both these, that means we will have a lower low for this week, and that's exactly what we want to be holding. However, until we get above the bull market support band, which is 53,000, we take it as 53,000. Until we do get above 53,000, we cannot assume a bullish market structure. Okay, I mean, yeah, lower lows are partially a bullish, but until we get above 53,000, we cannot assume that, okay, we're going to go to 60 and stuff like that, right? So also note that the last time, like I said, we closed under we started working under the 200-day moving average here, but we held the 50-week moving average here. So here we can see that the lines have come extremely close. So the deviation for price difference is the margin is very small. So long as we hold this line, 50-week yesterday's weekly closure communicates that we will hold this line. Okay, also note that same technical analysis that we are doing, using the moving averages, the support, the resistance, all that, other people are doing as well. Okay, other people, if they feel, okay, we closed under the bull market support band. Last time that happened was in July 2013, and we did close the next week above that. We did not accomplish that here. So mix that with the fact that the last time we had a dip in May, we did not close above the bull market support band. We led into a mini bear market. So considering the psychology of trading as well, if people do tend to go down that path, we would definitely see a sell-off, right? Today or tomorrow. That's the faster people realize it, they want to act on that. So if we do see a sell-off between today and tomorrow, then that would take us to between, I would say 45,000 is good support, but we have to look at 39.5 to 40.5 to hold that line in the event we go into a mini bear market. So let's say we don't have a sell-off, right? Then we can assume that, okay, people aren't taking that psychology aspect into their trading strategy, and we can assume to hold the line between 47,000 to 48,000. So that's what the weekly closure communicates. Another thing I would like to talk about is Bitcoin dominance and why the altcoins are bleeding. Okay, so let me draw it so you can understand better. Okay, so we can see on the daily that Bitcoin is bouncing between 48,000 to around 50 to 51,000, right? So what that does is we go 48,000 to okay, it's a horrible line, but I know you can get the understanding. Okay, so 48,000 to about 51,000, back down, back up, and we keep bouncing in that region, right? So even though that Bitcoin manages to hold this price deviation, we can see that, you know, altcoins are just getting wrecked through, like, it's crazy, right? So the reason, even though Bitcoin is bouncing between these two levels and keeping that price action, why are altcoins going down further and further, right? So this is Bitcoin price action. Okay, so let's change that to red. So altcoins, what would happen is when Bitcoin goes down, okay, Bitcoin goes down, they go down as well, right? Then they go up. When Bitcoin, they'll have a small, so Bitcoin goes up first, then altcoin goes up after that, right? So Bitcoin goes up, altcoin goes up a little bit, right? Bitcoin falls back down to 48,000. Altcoins don't have enough time to recover, they go here. Then Bitcoin goes back up to 50, 51, they're here. Goes back down to 48. Altcoins don't have time to recover, and they keep going down. So the longer Bitcoin keeps playing between 48,000, long as they keep playing between, you know, they are mainly going to be playing right now between our moving averages and the bull market support band, right? So the more Bitcoin keeps playing there, the more altcoins are going to keep going down. Even though Bitcoin is stable, considering that price action is a stable action, altcoins, they can't keep up to that momentum, and they're going to just keep going down long as we keep playing between these two levels. So that is Bitcoin and the weekly analysis for Bitcoin. All right, so with Ethereum, let's just first talk about the MACD, right? So we crossed and we have another decreasing week coming up. So MACD suggests weekly wise we're not looking so good. RSI wise, we do have support right here at currently at 57. If we don't hold that, we will go down to the levels that we had in May, which is at 47.65, around that, between 47.65 and 50. So weekly closure wise, what we did was we closed yesterday at 4,136, way above 4,000. Not way above, but you know, it was a good close. So what that communicates is that we would most definitely hold 3867 for this week, considering we are forming a bullish market structure. To start that off, we need to get lower lows. Okay, so we are not in our region of 4,200 to 4,400 for this week. Yes, last week we did have that. So what we are looking for this week is to hold 3867, and weekly closure suggests that we do. And considering, okay, leaving all of the altcoins aside, Ethereum has shown a lot of strength against BTC. So if BTC does fall to 45k, we would most definitely expect to hold the bull market support band, which is now it is around 3,700 to 3,800. So last week we saw it between 3.5 and 3.6. Like I said in the previous when we were analyzing Bitcoin and the market caps, over time the bull market support band will go up. Long as we keep bouncing either on it or above it, we should be going up. So that's what the weekly closure suggests. Now we got to wait for today and tomorrow to see how the market plays out. We don't have any major sell-offs. We know psychologically people are all right with it, and we can hope to hold these levels before going up. Where we are going to be concerned about a turnaround, where we're going to be focused on, okay, Ethereum is ready to start its ascend, would be once we either start closing the weekly in or above 4,200 to 4,400. Until we do that, right now weekly closure suggests that we will hold between the bull market support band and 3867 being the lowest we want to go for this week. Looking at DOT, this used to be one of our really exciting projects, when it was at 50 and we were going for 95, right? So right now we can see that that's really out of sight right now. Okay, so what does the weekly closure communicate? We closed at 29.5, so we didn't close above 30, or did we close above 29.685? Now weekly closure suggests that we will hold between 23 I would say 23 to 25 is where we're going to find support for this week. We can see that 29.6 to 30 is acting as resistance. So definitely we can, like I said with the theory when I explained Bitcoin, right? The longer Bitcoin keeps shuffling between the bull market support band and its moving averages, all other altcoins will suffer. So the longer we keep playing there, the next target right now for DOT would be at between 23 to 25.5. And RSI wise, we can see that we're not finding support at 50, and weekly RSI suggests we will find support at 39.85. Taking us to 39.85 would most definitely put us between 23 and 25. It's whether we continue to move, have horizontal price action on Bitcoin that will suggest whether we go lower than that. As of now, weekly closure suggests we hold 23 to 25.5 as support for this week. Looking at SNX, we had a weekly closure at 5.53. That was under our goal of getting 5.6. Sets up the stage for 4.5. Sets up the stage for 4.5, and the longer BTC keeps doing its horizontal price action, we can most definitely see 3.7 for this week. Also note that we have RSI, right? RSI right now is at one of its lowest in forever, right? From the time of we have data. So if we can't hold 35 on the RSI, we'll find support at, definitely go to 30. Okay, so going to 30, we can say, yeah, this was the bottom before the start of a climb in November, right? So we will most definitely find support here. So that's like a worst case scenario for SNX until Bitcoin starts to get above the bull market support band. So weekly closure suggests that we will most definitely visit 3.7 to 4.5 this week if we keep having the same BTC price action. Right now on the weekly chart, we can't see any patterns that indicate really good either confirmed movements. We do have our yellow trend line to suggest that until we break past that, we can't assume anything. The bull market support band doesn't really play well for SNX, so that's what the weekly closure consists of. Over the week we will analyze the daily charts, 4-hour charts, to find macro trends, but as of now, weekly chart communicates us going to 3.7 to 4.5 for this week. Considering RUNE, we can see the weekly closure yesterday was at 7.12. So that was, it is good that we were above 6.67, but we want to look at the RSI as well. Okay, so weekly RSI suggests that we did find support previously back in 2020 March at this level. However, in the May crash, we did find support at a little lower at 40.49. So considering, weekly closure suggests that 6.67, around 6 to 6.67 should make it, between 6 to 6.67 should hold in the event that we go down. Now we can also see a possible double top formation here, which sets a price target. So this was the neckline, right? This was the neckline, and we can see that we broke that neckline here, double top formation, and we are at 6.67. now this is still Monday and we are testing support at this level. So weekly closure suggests that we should be able to hold this level. Now, like I said, we have to wait Monday, Tuesday to see if there's a sell-off. If there isn't, there is a very good chance that we can hold 6.67, right? RUNE does have demand. It's in the DeFi sector as well, and once that the hype starts setting in, we're gonna go back up. Now also note that we cannot go lower than 6.35. If we do, that would most definitely create an extremely bearish market structure consisting of lower lows and lower highs. Sets a price target of 4.41 in the coming weeks. However, that would only happen if we do have multiple daily closures under 6.67, have an even an intraday lower wick below 6.35, create bearish market structure, price target of 4.41 in the coming weeks. We're gonna have to cross-reference that with the RSI. If RSI does hold this current support level at around 44 to 44.25, that means we will hold 6.67 as support and go up from there. However, RSI doesn't hold this support level will not hold. Sets a price target for 4.41. Then we go on to check whether this support level will hold. Daily chart shows that RSI is at 30 and holding as support. Right now everything communicates that 6.67 would hold currently. MACD suggests we keep going down. However, as of now, 6.67 shows us holding as support. If we don't flip the Bitcoin price action, we will go down to price target of, I would say, 4.4. That's like a worst case scenario for RUNE. Alright, so let's look at Solana. Now I know that there are a lot of Solana lovers here and this is not going to be good news for you guys. So we did have yesterday's weekly closure at 172. what we wanted was a closure above 176. What this means is it now sets a price target to 150. So what we are looking for is this week RSI to find support at 50. We held support at 50 during our May crash, and then we bounced back up. Now what we don't want to do is see RSI on the weekly dip below 50. If we do that, we will go back into our trading region last time of 128 to 133. Sorry, 125 to 133. So right now, what this weekly closure suggests is we will most probably see Sol hit 150. We do have the trading region between 150 and 160 as support, but we would now be looking at the lower end of support for Sol, which is 150. So as you can see, the yellow trend lines were drawn based on the daily chart, right? So even if we can see the weekly wicks go below that. So even on the yellow trend line, we can see 150 is most definitely possible next. Now will we see 150 this week? So that would be around here. Yes, it is possible. Yes, it's most definitely possible. However, I would definitely hope to hold I don't want to see anything lower than 161. If we don't, that means we can hope to see a bullish market structure. Now this would happen, okay, this would happen only if we manage to hold so between 150 and 160 will hold only if we can manage to hold the RSI at 50 as support. We see that RSI doesn't hold 50 as support, we are most probably going to go down, right? So that's what the weekly closure suggests for Solana. So MACD suggests we are going down, RSI says we are going to find support at 50, yellow trend line drawn on the daily charts that fit the weekly charts pretty well. I mean, we can move this a little, okay, so keep like that. On the daily chart suggests that all suggest we are going this week, we will see 150 to 160 for this week if BTC doesn't manage to get out of its horizontal price action between 48,000 to 50,000. If we do, however, get back and make 50,000, okay, we don't really have to get above the bull market support band to stop this from going down, right? If we can get above 50,000, hold 50,000 as support and continue our way up, then there is a very good chance the altcoins would stop their decrease, the speed of their decrease faster. So that's Solana for you. Looking at Serum, so SRM, we can see that weekly closure yesterday was 3.8, right? Our line in the sand was 3.5. However, we want to be seeing on the daily chart we break out of this yellow trend line, okay? So weekly closure suggests that weekly closure plus the RSI, we can see RSI smoothing out at 39.76, okay? So we held that as support in December 2020, right? We haven't seen anything lower. So weekly closure and the RSI suggests we will hold 3.5, around 3.5 as support. However, if we do see even a daily wick that breaks past 3.4, okay, if we do see that, that would create a lower low, continuing our bearish market structure, and we would head towards 2.374. So weekly closure suggests that we will hold 3.523 and start to go back up once BTC starts stabilizing a bit. So that's SRM, and I mean SRM is still a really good investment, okay? So be patient. don't rush into anything. Just observe how today, tomorrow plays out, and let's see how SRM goes. But considering weekly closure, of course, just to reiterate the fact, support at 3.523 is suggested to hold. We might see price deviations a little, daily wicks under 3.52, but if we do see a daily close under 3.52, 2.374 is where we will head next. Okay, now let's look at FTT. Okay, so FTT, in case you guys don't know what it is, it's the native token for the FTX exchange. FTT is a very, very good investment. Now at these prices, it's a really good investment as well. Okay, so weekly closure was above 40, right? So weekly closure suggests 40 is going to hold as support. Lower lows would mean we would have to go to below 38. Now on the other market updates, I did say we would visit 38, and we did. So for this week, considering the weekly closure, and that the weekly closure was just almost less than $2, right, for above 40. So close was at 41.2 and our support was at 40. So with it being that close, I mean, yes, 40 would hold as support, but I would say if we see anything other than, I mean, if we see daily closures, maybe just even 2 daily closures under 40, 35 is definitely next, right? So I would keep my eyes open for between 35 and 38. I would say to keep my eyes open for that. Weekly closure suggests 40 is going to hold as support, but MACD doesn't show us improving for this week as well. So we're going to have to look at the daily charts from tomorrow and 4-hour charts to really get a pinpoint whether we're going to see 35 or hold 40 as support. We don't want to see a lower low. So if Bitcoin manages to reduce its and get stable, I would say, then 40 would hold. But it's most definitely a good outlook to keep 35 inside for FTT. I don't really see FTT going under 35 before Bitcoin goes up, considering Bitcoin is stable between 48 between their moving averages and the bull market support band. So for MINA weekly, I mean, we have very limited data, but MINA's weekly closure suggests we're still under 3.7, right? 3.7, that's a lot. We what we ideally wanted was to close above $4 for MINA. So closing under 3.7 as well sets most definitely for this week we can expect to see 3.3 being visited. Support wise, on the weekly we cannot really say, so we're gonna have to wait till tomorrow and day after. But the fact that we are going to visit 3.2 this week is extremely probable for this week for MINA. And also, in case a reminder what MINA is, it's dubbed that it's the lightest blockchain in existence of 22 kilobytes. It uses technology, the zero proof technology, for validation and stuff. So I would say once over time, right, still we haven't come to all season, and once the technology gets a little bit more attention, I would say MINA would go up. Like I said in previously as well, MINA is a long-term holding asset, so we're not really expecting a $35-$40 MINA for this market cycle. We wanted a $10 MINA, and that would only be back inside after we start making $5 support on the weekly. So as of now, next goal for MINA is 3.32. DYDX, we managed to close the weekly above 8.39, so we closed at 8.9, right? That's almost at 9, so that's fantastic. What we also, so what that communicates is that 8 to 8.3 would hold as support for this week. Now what we don't want to see is even on the daily a week go lower than 7.7. If we do see anything lower than 7.7 or multiple daily closures under 8.3, next logical target for DYDX would be $5. So as of now, weekly communicates that 8 to 8.3 will hold as support for this week. Considering today, tomorrow, we don't have massive market dumps, and we don't have Bitcoin going to 45,000. Those things don't happen. If those things don't happen, 8.3 is suggested to hold from the weekly closure. So looking at Cardano, so ADA, we closed the weekly at 1.347, right? So that's just above our 1.263 support level. So RSI wise, on the weekly we have a little bit more downside to go. So I would say weekly suggests that we will hold 1.263 as support, but I would most probably be I would definitely be ready to see let's see, if we had our low at 1.184, right? On a weekly RSI going to 34.84, we could most definitely see support. We could most definitely look to see even a daily low of 1.2 for this week. It's most definitely possible considering the RSI on the weekly as well. So weekly closure yesterday suggests 1.263 hold as support. If we do see any daily closures under 1.263, next target would be 1.2. 1.2 is where we find support. Worst case scenario, Bitcoin doesn't hold 48,000 and goes close to 45, so 46, 45, we would definitely I would be 100% certain of ADA touching 1.114 in the event BTC goes down. So that's Cardano. And what we think of Cardano is, so we had crazy hype all the way up here, and then we didn't have any more news related to Cardano. No smart contracts coming out. We hear tiny improvements to their blockchain, sorry, to their project. So what we are looking for is either Cardano starts talking about smart contracts or the hype sets back in. Those are the two things that are going to drive ADA prices back up. So as of now, weekly closure suggests we hold support at 1.263, but I would say that it's most definitely possible to see even an intraday wick to 1.2. So considering Chainlink, where the weekly closure was at 20.4, right, just above 20, so still that closure was under 21.6, still sets the stage for us. Well, we are on track for this week to test 17.8 at least on a daily intra week. Now whether we go lower than that will mainly depend on whether BTC is going to continue its horizontal price action / accumulation phase, right? But next step for Link would be 17.8 for this week. That's what the weekly closure communicates. So looking at BNB, we had our weekly closure at 570, right? So we had our weekly close at 570, and that communicates that support at 540 51.2 is what we expect to hold for this week. However, note that RSI finds support at 46.71 and our MACD hasn't crossed yet but about to cross. Now, if we look at not just the weekly closure, but if we put all of these things together, we can say that there's a very good chance of us visiting around 521.8 for support this week. It is most definitely possible. Okay, weekly closure suggests that 541.2 will hold as support, but when we mix in that the MACD is reducing and the RSI, so RSI does find support at 58.72. We have broken that support. The next key level of support would be around 46 to 48. That would take us to visit support back at 521. So I would say be prepared to expect the BNB coin to test support between 521 and 541 for this week. That's what the weekly candle closure communicates.